Welcome to Mapping Minerals Diplomacy, an explainer series that brings clarity to the deals, players, and policies shaping the global race for critical minerals. I'm your host, Gracelin Baskaran, Director of the Critical Minerals Security Program at CSIS. Today we turn to Kazakhstan, the world's uranium superpower and a pivotal country in the geopolitics of energy and nuclear security. Kazakhstan accounts for more than 40% of global uranium production, making it the single most important supplier for nuclear power worldwide. Exports of commodities including oil, gas, iron, copper, and uranium are the cornerstone of the Kazakh economy, and the country is ambitiously positioning itself as a key player in the broader landscape of critical minerals. Kazakhstan's story is one marked by both its geography and its politics. Landlocked in Central Asia, it borders both Russia and China, placing it squarely at the crossroads of the East and the West. Its Soviet legacy forged deep industrial ties with Moscow. And on the other side, in 2013, President Xi Jinping chose Kazakhstan as the stage to launch China's Belt and Road Initiative. Now, at the same time, Kazakhstan has strengthened ties with Washington through nuclear non-proliferation cooperation. Today, its foreign policy is defined by strategic equilibrium, navigating Russia, China, and the United States, making Kazakhstan a pivotal and highly nuanced partner in minerals diplomacy. On the security front, Kazakhstan plays an important role. It is a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and hosts the International Atomic Energy Agency's Low-Enriched Uranium Bank, a facility designed to guarantee reliable fuel for civilian nuclear reactors while minimizing the risk of proliferation. This positions Kazakhstan not only as a major supplier of uranium, but also as a trusted partner in global nuclear security governance and a bridge to Western institutions. However, Kazakhstan's deep economic, trade, and geographic ties to Russia and China continue to impact its uranium and mineral sector. Kazakhstan exports the vast majority of its uranium to Russia and China to be refined into enriched uranium, compounds used for both commercial and military uses. Minerals diplomacy in Kazakhstan will require the U.S. to navigate these deep ties with foreign adversaries. Kazakhstan ranks as the world's largest uranium producer, 7th for gold and 10th for copper. Its state-owned company, Kazatomprom, leads the country's mining industry and engages in joint ventures across Canada, France, China, Japan, and Russia. Reflecting its criticality to Kazakhstan's economy, mining contributes to 17% of total GDP and comprises of 16% of all exports. Now, Kazakhstan's role in the global critical minerals and uranium sector is set to expand. Over the next 5 years, global uranium demand for nuclear reactors is projected to surge by nearly 30%. At the same time, the United States is advancing bold nuclear energy goals, rapidly deploying next-generation reactors to power everything from military bases to AI-driven data centers. Meeting these ambitions will require not just vast uranium supplies, but secure and resilient supply chains. Uranium is one of the most consequential elements of our time. It powers the resurgence of nuclear energy. It is the essential feedstock for nuclear power, the largest source of carbon-free energy in the United States, supplying 19% of total U.S. electricity in 2023. The U.S. remains the world's top nuclear producer, operating more reactors than any other nation. But that lead is starting to slip. Years of stagnation and reactor retirements have slowed U.S. growth, while China is racing ahead, on track to overtake U.S. nuclear capacity by 2030 with 150 new reactors set to come online between 2020 and 2035. Uranium supply is perhaps the biggest threat to U.S. nuclear leadership. In 2022, Kazakhstan solidified its position as the global uranium powerhouse, producing more than 21,000 tons, or 45% of the world's total uranium supply. In stark contrast, Canada managed only about 7,000 tons in second place. This overwhelming dominance means that the global uranium market is highly sensitive to events within Kazakhstan. That became abundantly clear in January 2022 when political unrest sent shockwaves through the market and uranium prices surged nearly 8% in a single day, highlighting the profound strategic risk tied to supply chain stability in the region. Now let's turn to geopolitics. For years, Russia has been a key partner for Kazakhstan's uranium exports, particularly for uranium enrichment. China, meanwhile, has emerged as both a major investor and a growing customer. In 2023, over 83% of Kazakhstan's uranium was exported to U.S. adversaries, China and Russia. But with Western sanctions reshaping global markets, Kazakhstan is now exploring ways to diversify its export routes, including through the Trans-Caspian corridor, linking Central Asia to Europe. This creates a delicate balancing act for Astana, deepening ties with Western partners without jeopardizing relationships with its powerful neighbors. Over 20% of U.S. nuclear fuel imports came from Kazakhstan. Strengthening cooperation with Astana while navigating its ties to Russia and China will be critical to ensuring secure supply chains. Now, several key challenges remain to be addressed for Kazakhstan to emerge as a global minerals powerhouse. Chief among them, a deepening water crisis. Since 1999, the per capita water availability has plunged by 21%, and less than half of the country's supply is usable due to outdated infrastructure and inefficient management. This is worrisome for a country betting on the expansion of its water-intensive mining industry. To make matters worse, over 45% of the water flowing in from neighboring states and glacial melt in the Tian Shan region, glaciers that are on track to lose half of their mass by 2050. Without urgent action, water insecurity could become a critical bottleneck to resource extraction and processing. A second major challenge is Kazakhstan's shrinking investment in mineral exploration. Over the past decade, uranium exploration budgets have plummeted from over $70 million in 2012 to less than $9 million in 2024. This sharp decline undermines the discovery of new deposits and limits opportunities for new entrants into the sector. Rather than expanding future capacity, Kazakhstan appears to be doubling down on existing uranium operations, many backed by Russian and Chinese interests, risking long-term growth for short-term stability. Finally, Kazakhstan's reputation as a mining investment destination has seen mixed results, but recent progress signals a potential turning point. Following a stretch of investor hesitation, the country rebounded to 43rd place globally in 2024, from a score of 36.1 out of 100 in 2022 to 59.18 in 2023. This shows a renewed effort to attract foreign investment in its resources sector with favorable policies. The upward movement suggests growing confidence, but sustained momentum will depend on continued regulatory clarity and investor-friendly policies. And with that, I'm honored to welcome our guest, Mr. Merzan Yusupov, CEO of the Kazatomprom, the national operator of the Republic of Kazakhstan for the import and export of uranium, rare metals, nuclear fuel for nuclear power plants. He has been at the forefront of shaping Kazakhstan's mineral strategy. Mr. Yusupov, thank you so much for joining us today.
And thank you, Gracelin, for having me today.
So I want to turn to our first question. We've talked a lot about uranium today. Kazakhstan has the second largest uranium deposits in the world. And as the world races to build its nuclear capacity, how is Kazakhstan and Kazatomprom positioning itself to meet the growing demand?
Thank you for your question. Actually, as you said, Kazakhstan holds the world's second largest uranium resource base. And today, we're the leading global producer and exporter, responsible for about 40% of global primary uranium production. So to put this in perspective, Kazakhstan's share of the global uranium market is larger than OPEC's share in crude oil, underscoring our unique role in ensuring energy security worldwide. So we as a company manage all uranium mining and exports in Kazakhstan, and over the last 28 years of operations, Kazatomprom has proved we proved ourselves as a reliable supplier, and all our mines are suitable for in situ recovery ISR production technology, which gives us the lowest production costs in the industry. And coming, as I was looking at your slides, and one of your slides said that, yeah, that some industries in mining, be it, I don't know, maybe gold or other products, might require a lot of water resources. But in our case, ISR is very environmentally friendly technology, and actually our water usage is minimal because our production and our pregnant solution is circulated within closed loop. So basically, I just wanted to add this one. So as per estimates of various experts, within the next 5 to 10 years, there will be global supply shortage driven by depletion of existing mines and rising demand, and there was also underinvestment into mining assets globally. So with a strong pipeline of existing domestic mining projects and international expansion plans, Kazatomprom is well positioned to be a supplier of choice to our global customers in future. And also, it was mentioned that in one of your slides that investments actually has been at low level for the past several years, but we updated our strategy, and according to our strategy, we are tripling our investments into exploration as a company. So this will give boost to our potential exploration activities and potential findings within Kazakhstan. So, okay, so I should stop here.
So there's a few interesting points. You know, when I think about from a Washington perspective, building nuclear power is actually one of the few bipartisan priorities that have continued to remain. One, I think two, you highlighted the really important role of innovation in reducing that water demand. And three, investing in exploration, which does seem to be a binding constraint. You know, I always say if you don't explore, you won't find, and if you don't find, you won't produce. So we have to go back to exploration. I want to come to my second question. You know, one of the things we've talked about is how Kazakhstan is kind of that integration of uranium, particularly as it goes to China or Russia for enrichment. Is Kazakhstan considering building its own enrichment capabilities or rewiring that supply chain to send it somewhere else?
Well, I should first say that Kazakhstan has a proven track record of its kind of image in non-proliferation and nuclear fuel security, which gives us both credibility and capability to develop peaceful uranium enrichment. And all our nuclear facilities operate under International Atomic Energy Agency safeguards. So we are an active member of international export control regimes, including nuclear suppliers group, etc. So, and also it was mentioned in one of your slides and in the video, we are the host for IAEA Low Enriched Uranium Bank on our soil. That said, our approach is pragmatic and market driven. Enrichment as a business is capital intensive, requiring high upfront investment and exposure to market volatility. At present, the economics of uranium mining and direct sales comparatively might look more attractive, but at the same time, geopolitical dynamics are reshaping the nuclear fuel market. So increasing demand for trusted suppliers to play a larger role. So to wrap up, should market conditions and strategic value justify it, we stand ready to consider not only domestic enrichment, but also acquiring ownership stakes in existing enrichment enterprises worldwide, or investing in in the expansion of the current capacities. But as I said, those projects should be economically viable. And I should again say it again that Kazakhstan is fully compliant with all non-proliferation regimes. And while we are planning to be involved in enrichment, of course, we'll be compliant with all these non-proliferation regimes.
The economics of enrichment are so complicated that here in the US, we're really just building our enrichment capabilities after a long period of not operating in that space because shareholders want that return. Now, I want to turn, one of the things we talked about is how Kazakhstan has improved its investor attractiveness quite markedly within the last year or two. What reforms are underway to continue that trajectory to increase the mining sector's transparency, efficiency, and investment attractiveness?
Yeah, thank you for a very good question, because actually Kazakhstan and the government of Kazakhstan has been putting a lot of efforts to establish transparent, investor-friendly legal environment for the mining sector. First of all, transparency was enhanced in permitting and licensing. Also, clear rules for exploration and extraction were put in place. Also, the government is working, I guess it is finalizing publicly accessible digital platform where companies can apply for license online. So the government wants to show that we are transparent, we want to work, and we want to attract more investors into Kazakhstan. So and also the president was also putting a lot of emphasis on investment attraction. So that's why the government is working a lot to enhance investment climate in Kazakhstan and make Kazakhstan more attractive for investors. And also we have AIFC, Astana International Financial Center. So we have this specific regime within Kazakhstan. So to legally protect the interests of junior companies or new investors, the coming investors coming to Kazakhstan can use the platform of Astana International Financial Center, which operates on the basis of English law jurisdiction. And if you just look at the statistics, the number of companies that are coming through this platform, or I would say through this Astana International Financial Center, numbers are growing exponentially. Just look at the statistics. So it was tens earlier, then it became hundreds. Now it is thousands. And so also as Kazatomprom, our shares are publicly traded on London Stock Exchange and at the same time on Astana International Exchange, so providing transparent access to investor communities. So all of these things are done to increase awareness of investors, at the same time to increase or enhance investment climate here in Kazakhstan.
So these reforms that you highlighted are so important in attracting investment. And I want to turn to the next point, which is actually infrastructure. When we look at the cost of mining, one of the most significant costs is transportation. Kazakhstan has been positioning itself as a logistics and connectivity hub, with the Middle Corridor gaining renewed global attention. How does infrastructure, rail, pipelines, ports, factor into Kazakhstan's mineral strategy?
First, let me talk a little bit about Kazatomprom, and then I'll talk about Kazakhstan later on. So first of all, in terms of Kazatomprom's deliveries, we actually do not face difficulties with transportation. Of course, because of geopolitical issues, at some point we faced some transportation issues with shipping, but of course we are handling all those issues. For example, we have been shipping through St. Petersburg port. At this point, not all of our clients are willing to receive material or our products through St. Petersburg, so we are using middle corridor. We have very good relations with our neighbors, and of course we have very good cooperation with governments of Azerbaijan and Georgia, ensuring that all movements of this highly regulated commodity like uranium is fully complied with international security and safety standards. So in terms of transportation, as I said, from time to time we might face some difficulties, but using this middle corridor through Caspian Sea, we are handling our situation. I mean, I would say, very good. But at the same time, when you're asking about the overall concerns about infrastructure or infrastructure bottlenecks, I should note that the government is putting a lot of emphasis on putting infrastructure in place. The Kazakh government is working on railroads, and in the upcoming years, more than 1,000 kilometers of new railroads will be built. Plus, over the past several years, the government has spent tens of billions of US dollars into infrastructure, be it road, Western China, Western Europe road, like regular road, and also railroads, and also we're putting a lot of emphasis on making Kazakhstan airports also as a transit hubs, be it for passenger planes or be it for cargo planes.
Reducing infrastructure costs and also creating multiple routes to ports has been shown to be an incredible de-risking strategy. Now, I want to take you to my last question. You know, from a Washington perspective, we've been talking a lot about what better US-Kazakh cooperation looks like. It's really hard to imagine a future where we could actually increase our nuclear power without Kazakhstan. So I want to ask you, what does meaningful and improved US-Kazakh cooperation look like on uranium and critical minerals?
Well, we are not, as Kazakhstan, we are not newcomers to big mining. As Kazakhstan, we possess extensive reserves of critical minerals and world-class midstream capabilities. To the best of my knowledge, there was statistics, and we can supply at scale 29 out of 54 critical minerals identified by US Geological Survey, USGS, that are essential to key US industries like aerospace, defense, semiconductors. And we as Kazatomprom, as I said, we are ready to increase our supplies to US market. One of your slides also showed that most of our supplies are going to Russia and China, our direct neighbors. But at the same time, we should note that we are walking extra mile to deliver our uranium to Western markets. So it's in terms of logistics, it's more complicated compared to delivering to our direct neighbors. In terms of time, it takes a little bit more time, and in terms of cost, it takes a little bit more, few dollars to deliver to Western markets. But at the same time, to de-risk our operations, we are ready to increase our supplies to US markets in terms of uranium, be it US market, be it other Western markets. So it is one of our in our diversification policy, and policy is in our strategy. We will be continuing with this. And in terms of cooperation, also Kazatomprom, we as a company that is responsible for also rare earth and rare earth minerals, we also process beryllium, tantalum, and niobium. We can cooperate in this area also. So we are open to any type of cooperation which will create win-win situation for both sides.
And some of those minor metals that you mentioned are incredibly important for U.S. national security. Like beryllium is one of the toughest materials out there. So it's really hard to produce our defense technology without them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Mirjan, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today, and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, that concludes today's episode of Mapping Minerals Diplomacy. In future episodes, we'll explore how other countries are shaping their minerals diplomacy strategies and how the United States can better deploy its tools to compete. Thanks for watching. I'm Gracelin Baskaran. See you next time on Mapping Minerals Diplomacy.